If you have your North Node in Libra or your North Node is located in the 7th house of your natal chart, this reading is for you. I want to start off by saying there are a lot of planets in Pisces right now at the time that I'm filming this. I don't do well with Pisces transits, okay? So you're going to have to forgive me if I feel a little low energy. um, Collective, there is something here that I feel is inspiring to you, but you're deeply skeptical of because you have felt this before. Thank you, Spirit. You've felt this before. And so there's something about this that feels new to you. And so I'm hearing the word reluctance. I'll show you the cards that I have here. Arrows, the Lover, which is a card I have a particular affinity for, and the Siren. Okay. And then I also have the cards were just flying. There's definitely a lot of feels like a lot of energy behind this reading. The Animal Spirit Oracle deck I have Earthworm, Firefly, which is, it kind of reminds me of the Ace of Wands. It's like this fleeting moment of inspiration. And then Wolf. So, collective, I do feel that, again, there's something alluring about it. Like these are all very sensual cards. But you don't trust it, or there's something about it that maybe you shouldn't trust. Now, Spirit did have me pull 2 cards here to reveal with you. I want to say though there is this element of renewal. I think that I said that you've been down this road before. There's this energy of like, that feels familiar, I don't trust it. So there's hesitance or reluctance. This could be related to love. We'll get clarity on that probably when we get into the cross. But the earthworm is this energy of like, everyone has been new at something, so even as you are emerging from what could have been like a long period of like hermit, kind of chapter of your life, or a period of kind of being withdrawn, Spirit is urging you to maybe keep your boundaries up while maybe exploring it just a tad, let's see what these 2 cards are. Okay. Oh, this definitely seems to be about love. So I have the Storm and the Kiss. Well, definitely alluring and definitely sensual. But the Storm, that card, I think just the name implies this, we'll see kind of how it shows up. Excuse me. But with the Storm, there's this, it's a storm, but storms always pass. So I wonder, collective, if you're kind of hoping this thing will just go away, or if this is something that you kind of have to experience. If Spirit is urging you to experience it, let's get into the cross. Let's get a little bit more here. This is interesting. I do believe that this is either related to love or some form of artistic expression. It's got to be one of those two. Okay, let's get into the cross here. We've got self and crossing. Okay, so we're going to stop there. For self, I have the World, and for crossing, I have the 8 of Swords. What did I say about reclusivity? Just a little bit of withdrawal. Collective, you might have found yourself in a period, no matter how long or short, where you have just kind of gone in to, you've gone inward, right? I'm hearing to the heart space, but then Spirit is kind of like pushing this. There's like this pulse on that energy where like maybe you've gone inward with the intention of connecting to the heart space, but you've had some trouble there. And so what seems like an opportunity to connect to the heart space in the form of love or romantic partnership, flirtation is something Spirit is telling me. In any way, shape, or form, there's a lot of kind of mental entrapment here. Okay, so let's do recent past. I have King of Wands Near future, I have Two of Cups. Two of Cups. All right. What's beneath you? The Hierophant. And what is crowning you? The Star. Well, that is gorgeous. Except for this Eight of Swords here. We've got 3 major arcana stacked right on top of each other. A king. And we've got all the elements here, right? Well, except for Pentacles. This is beautiful so far. Let's get into internal factors. We have the Devil for what's going on inside of you. What's outside of you? We have the Ace of Wands, hopes and fears, the Nine of Pentacles, and then ultimate outcome, we have the Six of Pentacles. So there are our pentacles. The anchor of the deck is the Knight of Wands. I do like to see that. I'm not going to lie. Okay. Well, you know, whoever this is, you know, for some of them, for some of you, this person might have been around for some time. And also I'm noting that I said some of them. So it is possible that you have multiple suitors or multiple opportunities presenting themselves to you. But what I'm seeing here is that they are kind of enacting this firefly energy. It's like, I see you in this place of, well, I could, but didn't I learn this the last time? With the Hierophant beneath you, I can see that, you know, for some of you, this may be a spiritual issue where you're just like, I want to keep I don't like this at all, but Spirit is saying, I want to keep myself pure. I don't like that, because I mean, I think for obvious reasons, but I think it's more of a mentality of like, I want to keep myself, and I do get it if this is like a romantic partnership. I do actually understand that in terms of like sovereignty. But really I also want to point out my phone is like vibrate, like my phone, I'm getting notifications like more than I usually get, while I'm giving this reading. So you could be feeling pretty overwhelmed by this, you know, or like kind of trying to distract yourself, maybe. Okay. With the World and the Eight of Swords, it is kind of giving me this feeling of like, I think that a large part of you really just wants this to not be happening right now. It's possible that for many of you, you're in a place where you're just like, I really don't want this to be my reality. Like, I really don't want to have to consider like bringing a relationship or another obligation or whatever it is into my life. But with the Star at the top here crowning you, it's like you're still like, you're keeping such a beautiful outlook on things. The King of Wands in your recent past lets me know that you recently came into a level of, I'm hearing like purpose, self-actualization. Like there's a big like increase in confidence and vision that feels very fresh for you. However, with the Eight of Swords, you know, again, this energy of like, I don't know what to do. Like this person is literally bound. Like, are you being reclusive? Because I do strongly feel that this collective is kind of insulating themselves in one way or another, right? However that's coming out for you. But are you being preserving, like, you know, acting in a form of self-preservation because you feel that there's actually a threat? Or are you doing this because you desperately do not want to admit that something might be good about this situation? Because in your outcome, I see the Six of Pentacles. Let's get a little bit more here. Self, I have the Lovers. Crossing, the Magician. Okay. You know, and the reason why we pull these the clarifier cards is to peel it back a little bit more, right? So I do see that this is something that you want. But is this exactly what you want, right? This opportunity or this other person, are they exactly what you want? Let's get recent past. I have the 10 of Pentacles. Near future, I have the 4 of Cups. Okay. Beneath you and above you, crowning you. Okay, so beneath you, I have the 8 of Wands alongside the Hierophant, and crowning you, I have the King of Pentacles. This is really weird and interesting. So what's tripping me up here is that the 10 of Pentacles is in your past, the 4 of Cups in your future, as the clarifier. That doesn't really surprise me here with how I think hell-bent you are on, like, I guess, like, how much resistance there is. And I want to also say, I'm not telling you to go one way or another, right? I'm not telling you, like, yes, this is for you, or no, that it's not. Like, we're still kind of getting clarity on that. But the possibility of it being a good thing, I think, is something that you don't want to look at. Even just, like, the possibility of it. Like, it's possible that you are in a place where you're just like, I've been here before. I don't want to do it again. I know how it goes, you know? In your recent past, with the King of Wands and the 10 of Pentacles, it's like, I might need to get another clarifier on that. Because I feel that, whatever happened in your recent past did deeply stabilize you. Okay, no. So whatever happened in your recent past really stabilized you, in terms of, like, your own sovereignty and self-worth. Did it further isolate you? This is a genuine question that I want you to ask yourself. Did it further isolate you? Because in your near future, with this possibility of union or agreement of some kind, I see you objecting to it. Now, beneath you, the 8 of Wands and the Hierophant, it's almost as if there's a kind of newness to, like, maybe you're clinging to this feeling of I need to keep myself pure, or I need to stay on a spiritual path and it needs to look this one way. Maybe there's a bit of rigidity there. And you're really clinging to it. So I would ask you to kind of explore. I would encourage you to question where you are falling in line with something that maybe you were told is an image that would deem you to be like whole or good or righteous or whatever. You know does that make sense? Like, I would just encourage you to question the models that you might be running off of, right? Because the cards that are beneath us can be really revealing because it helps us dig into the subconscious a little bit. For what's crowning you, I can see that you want to get somewhere. It's not, the star is our North Star, it's inspiration, but the King of Pentacles is like you're stabilizing where you want to go, right? Like you have a goal in mind, collective. And I feel that you are really adhered to this goal that you have. Let's get internal factors. Alongside the Devil, we do have the 10 of Wands. So again, I would encourage you to question what models you are basing your actions on. There does seem to be something here that you're identifying. And again, the Devil, I don't know if I said this, the Devil is very similar to the Siren. Like you may or may not know the Siren. It's, the mermaid of the sea that would lure in the ships, and she's all hot and steamy, and then she knocks him out, right? It's kind of a cool little bit of lore. But I see you here, with that coming up in a card so similar coming up in your internal factors. I wonder if there's an element to this that's like, okay, so Spirit is also telling me that some of you could be in a place where you are over romanticizing something, and you're identifying how you're over romanticizing something. And so you are kind of calling a halt to it because of that. It just feels like a lot of like mental labor. It feels like a lot of kind of mental anguish over this thing that really is meant to be kind of joyful and expansive and supportive, that it's just the idea of it that's stressing you out so much. Like it's not even really there yet. For external factors, I have the 6 of Cups alongside the Ace of Wands. So yeah, again, this is something familiar that maybe this person is saying, or this, opportunity, whatever it is, they might be presenting it to you as like, hey, I know that you've been here before, but I promise it's different, right? And this kind of reminds me, I'm getting this image of like, there's this kind of common experience that people have where like you're in a relationship and you've had toxic relationships in the past, and so you're acting in one type of way, and then your partner is like, I'm not that person, and they can identify for you that you are acting as if they are your ex, or like whatever is going on there, whatever kind of like wound you might be acting out, that they are, and I don't know anyone who's actually experienced this in real life, but then the other person is like, intelligent enough and aware enough to identify that you are operating from a previous experience, a wound, or whatever it is. You see what I'm saying? So I kind of feel like that might be what's happening here, is this person is saying like, hey, I know that you've been there. It could also be that this is just someone from your past. Okay, maybe I'm reading too far into it, but that's what Spirit gave me. Either way, there's a familiarity to this, this kind of raw like opportunity, this raw, Ace of Wands. It would be inspiration. This idea. In Hopes and Fears, we have the Nine of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords. That's so interesting. I'm hearing, what will I say? How will people look at me? This could also be a fear of, like how communication will go. If this is like a workplace situation, you might be someone who has been on, or has been put on the spot by former employers and like not really been able to like hold your ground. Maybe you've kind of slipped up in the past. So that could also translate to a relationship, or really any situation like that. I think that for Hopes and Fears, it's like, you are hoping that you be comfortable either way in any decision that you make here, but I'm also seeing this understanding of like, in the past I have faltered in my integrity, kind of a thing. For ultimate outcome, we have the Queen of Cups alongside the Six of Pentacles, and then at the bottom of the deck we have the Five of Wands right alongside the anchor for our first deck, which is the Knight of Wands. So quite a bit of wands going on here. Well, the Queen of Cups and the Six of Pentacles really does make me think that this is kind of like that you are going to agree to this relationship or opportunity, this whatever this is. I do feel like there's some part of you that takes that leap anyways. And to be honest with you, like, as much inner conflict as I'm picking up on, these are a lot of really, really positive cards. And I feel that like the larger part of you, with the clarifiers showing up as the Lovers, like you are someone who genuinely, you want, I think that you want this thing, whatever it is, I think that you do want it. And it could just be that whatever practical things in your life be, it could be practical, it could be spiritual. Maybe this is a spiritual kind of moral thing. Like, maybe this thing is just, it doesn't quite sit right with something, that you tend to model yourself on. But these are really positive cards, like, and I can't stress that enough. So I do see you kind of going forth with it, and ultimately saying yes, but there's this element of, there's a lot of fear, but there's also this element of like, this is familiar, I've been here before. So let's get our Poesis deck. So for Self, I have Wisdom. For Crossing, I have Hold. Yes. Yeah. Again, I think that Okay, so hold also alongside the magician. There is this feeling of like, so it's the magician and the Eight of Swords. It's like you have created a lot for yourself, and this, whatever this incoming thing is, it feels like this is something that is contrary to what you created. Like it's contrary to what you've held on to for so long. So you're like, I want to hold on to what I have. I don't want change, right? Like you've, and this could be, you know, whether or not this, you identify with this, but this could have something to do with that reclusive energy that I'm talking about. You've gotten very familiar with a way of living, or with like just your life. You've gotten very comfortable and you want to hang on to it. But with self coming out here as wisdom, it's like, I think, yeah, like you are not, okay. That's just, it just feels like you know better. And that's why so many of these cards are so positive, is because like this internal battle is only because possibly, okay, this internal battle is only happening because you've gotten very comfortable with something. Let's get recent past. We have birth, okay. Near future, we have earth. So kind of like a grounding energy coming forth to, that's so interesting. Because we have cups and then we have earth. I think that this is, it's interesting because I want to say that there might be like kind of the push and pull, but you do ultimately stay grounded in whatever you deem to be wise, is what Spirit is telling me. Like you do ultimately, the decision that you make, you feel good with, whether it's, you know, adhering to that Four of Cups and saying like, I don't really know, and like kind of maintaining boundaries, which I believe I said in the beginning, right? It was like this kind of, you know, maintain your boundaries, but explore. With recent past being birth here, it does make a lot of sense, because you have created this new foundation, you have created this new confidence and all of these things. And then now Spirit's like, hey, let's try this other thing. What if we throw this in the mix? Right? How fun would that be? And so I do see you here striking a balance with, you know, what is comfortable and what is new, and perhaps a little bit uncomfortable. And I'm hearing like a lot uncomfortable, like that's you, like kind of, it's a lot uncomfortable, you know. Internal, or I'm sorry, beneath you I have trust. So you are, yeah, I mean, with the Hierophant, like you are definitely someone who's just like, I'm trusting the process, right? Crowning you, I have seek. That's beautiful. I think that you are definitely someone who is looking for expansion. This is just something that you've brushed up against that feels maybe a little bit tender, again, a little bit familiar, a little bit meh, okay. Internal, we have open. Spirit is asking you to soften a little bit. Just soften a little bit. You know, open, because it's about open mind, right? Kind of opening yourself to possibilities. And alongside the Devil and the Ten of Wands, I see this very stark reminder to you. Stark, right? It's just this like, hey, you're working really hard here. You know, like what stories are you attaching yourself to? What story exists in your subconscious that you were trying to prove at this time? And how hard are you working to do that? And does it even resonate with you? Is that even what you want, dude? Like with open here, it's like, hey, check how hard you're working and for why, right? Like, are you happy with that? Does that feel good? Do you want to maybe shift something? There are other ways to live, you know, like very kindly, obviously, but it's kind of like, hey, like open another door, like see what else is going on, you know? You might be overworking yourself for nothing. Or not for nothing, but like just for an old story that you don't really want. So for external factors, I think this is really cool. So the card that came out is Illuminate, alongside the Ace of Wands and the Six of Cups. So I do feel that whoever is around you is really, or whatever situations you're finding yourself in, is really shining a light on what is familiar and what, I guess like you've learned, okay, so I feel like this is kind of a broader thing too. Like there is one person or situation that is highlighted, but I feel like you found yourself in places for a while that have really kind of like beamed lights on things that like little nooks and crannies and parts of the valley that like were really kind of like in the shadows for a long time, and allowed you to look at things with a kind of perspective that is pretty refreshing, and that is really valuable, right? Like that is you know, an invaluable experience when we can look at things that had previously been covered up for an extended period of time. Then we have a chance to like kind of you know, decide if we want to keep them or not, if we want to love on them, if we want to heal it, or if we're able to get rid of those things. And so I'm finding here that like this, it could be that like, you know, that is true, that where it's been happening like that for a long time, but it could also be that like this person or situation is showing you something about past experiences that maybe you hadn't really noticed before, right? Maybe you hadn't really noticed patterns of, you know, thinking or behavior, relationships, and this person's like, hey, like this is like, you know, this is a light, you know, this is a little lantern, and I'm gonna hold it here, and you can just look whenever you want, right? Like I feel like that's really good. I like to see that. Hopes and fears, we have wish. I feel like there's a part of you that maybe doesn't want to admit that whatever this is, you actually do really want. And maybe not, you know, maybe not. It could also be that you're kind of wishing for something else. But the Nine of Pentacles here, I like, maybe you do want yourself in a different situation. You know, maybe this situation is just kind of not quite right. And I would ask you to honor that. But I think that like maybe getting familiar with the wish, like what do you want in the context of whatever this is, if it's a relationship or a contract or, you know, whatever it is, some kind of agreement involving another party. What is it that you want? Why do you want it? Can you answer that clearly? Like, and maybe if you can, you're being encouraged to, just as with anything else, maybe just explore it a little bit more. There's never any harm in that. For ultimate outcome, we have listen. That's really beautiful. So there's this kind of like increased capacity to listen and to hear. I'm hearing like your own voice, but also to understand the voice of those around you. So we do have work at the bottom of the deck, which, you know, could affirm that for many of you, this is like a contract of some kind, but it could also affirm that whatever you have going forward is going to require a level of work from you. It could also indicate that there is, you know, with what we said about what you've built for yourself and how far you've come in this recent potential win with the King of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles and birth, it's like you have put so much work into things that maybe that's kind of why, or maybe that's why you don't want to, if this is a relationship, maybe that's why you don't want to take on a relationship. But then if it is, but it could also be that that's why you're wrestling with yourself. Like maybe it's an excuse that you're using, or it's something that you should, and this is totally up to you to decide, right? So either you're using work as an excuse to deny something that's good for you, or you're anchoring yourself in your work because this is about work and it feels really good, and at the end you're further able to listen to yourself. Or, you know, with the Six of Pentacles, Queen of Cups, listen, you know, with the outcome, and then work at the bottom of the deck, you know, maybe you're able to strike that beautiful balance, right? Maybe you succeed in this path of the North Node, in striking that nice balance, right? Because the six of Pentacles, you know, this is, I mean, literally there's the Libra scale there, right? So whether or not your North Node is in Libra, your seventh house, that's Libra energy, that your North Node is placed in. So yeah, I think that this is a successful outcome here. I think that the trick here is spending that time to kind of connect with the heart space and questioning yourself about what, like maybe just spending a little bit of time getting really clear on what exactly it is that you do want, if this is a relationship or a workplace or a contract, an obligation of some kind that you're taking on. Like, look at how far you've come, look at what this thing has shown to you already, and just be like, generous with the time that you give yourself on this. I don't really think that there's any urgency on this, right? Like if it's a person, they'll wait, right? And if it's a job, like you just say, hey, like, I just need a little bit of time to think about this, right? And if it's, what's for you will not miss you, right? And so that might be something to help you kind of like remove the shackles of the Eight of Swords, is just remembering that like you have agency and what is for you will not miss you, right? The Eight of Swords also, I want to point out, is a willful kind of imprisonment. It is a willful mental entrapment. You can free yourself from that. So the biggest theme here was like acknowledging how you are kind of overwhelming yourself and like burdening yourself with mental work. And I feel like I heard the word questions. Like there are a lot of questions that you're asking that maybe you don't need to ask that many questions. Maybe we can simplify whatever this thing is. And so I would encourage you again to like look at the models that you're basing your decisions on, and the story that you're telling yourself that maybe you're trying to prove in your subconscious and things like this. Because whatever this is, I mean, it's not clear if you say yes or no, to be totally real with you. It kind of is. I'm leaning towards like you're going to say yes to this. But either way, like you do seem to be very pleased with the decisions that you make. So I want you to like just take that time to tap into that confidence and remember who you are and give yourself the time and the space, however much that you need. And just acknowledge that like, sometimes blessings come in really interesting packages. And you just, sometimes we have to like trust, ask God, and like if we hear like a yes or no, and we just trust that, and maybe don't question it so much, don't get too in your head, right? That can be tricky. Okay, so I hope that this was helpful. Thank you so much for your patience, because I'm really not feeling 100% today. So thank you so much for your patience. And I don't know if I ever introduced myself. My name is Astrid. I'm a psychic oracle and mentor, and this is The Sacred Gray. Hello. Sorry. I need to get in a better habit of that. Anyways, take care of yourselves. Okay.